popcorn?
He lost.
Damn it, boy. Morning. Hey, first off, hold on. Congratulations to Kaz advancing to the 8U championship game in softball as a head coach.
I'm willing to give you a chance to have culture.
I was like, he's going to start expecting some championships around here.
Yes.
But no, it's as we
On
all.
that note, championship. Are you going to make the playoffs this year? Robert, the secondary, like, it looks like you probably have 3 new starters there, I think, we project it. Was that a priority immediately after the season when you and Joe sat down to try to revamp that? Obviously, you went young there last year, a lot of injuries at safety. Was that something you talked about immediately doing?
No, I don't know if it was a priority as much as it was just the opportunities that came to us. In this league, you're always trying to add the best players you can. Had opportunities to add some guys in the places that we were, so timing and all that stuff helped a ton with it. But there's a lot of priorities that we were trying to get accomplished, a lot of different things, and it just fell in a way where we were able to achieve a lot this offseason.
How have Bryce and Brandon, kind of handle it? Because when you draft a guy like Sauce, obviously he's going to play. He was the 4th overall pick, and that obviously would mean one of those guys probably is coming off the field.
Well, they've been professionals. Bryce is awesome, and I do want to be clear, and I know that, like you just said, with 4th overall, and I'm not trying to stir up headlines, and probably will, but he still has to go earn it. And Bryce has has started. He's taken the 1 reps. And it's not for show. It's you got to go earn your right to play football. Just because you were drafted in a certain spot doesn't mean anything. And Bryce is attacking every moment, and he's doing everything he can to keep himself exactly where he's been. So Brandon, obviously, he's been hampering with or dealing with his shoulder. So he looks fantastic. He's bigger than he was last season. Excited to get him back for training camp so he can come in and compete. But at the same time, both of them have been awesome.
When you have a guy like Gardner who excels in man coverage, do you anticipate maybe tweaking your scheme, like what you normally would do to suit his strengths? Like
Yeah.
you playing more man this year than you normally would?
For sure. I don't think I think we play a lot more man than people realize. So he's still going to get those opportunities, but he can play zone too. The kid can do it all. He's very talented. He's very smart. He's hungry for knowledge. He's a great competitor. So one thing I will say is we won't put him in a position where we know he won't succeed. So that's a promise. But there's not much of that in this game.
Robert, going back to when you scouted Zach Wilson, what were the traits that you really identified that made him the guy, and how have those traits progressed over the year that you've had him?
He's got Zach, his arm talent, his off-schedule platform throws that he's well known for, but his pure arm talent is everyone recognizes that, and he's a great young man. He's very smart, so we're seeing it all. It's just a matter of the game slowing down for him. When you get to this level, the amount of information that gets thrown at these quarterbacks is quite significant, but. And he's grinding through it. He's doing a really nice job. He looks a lot better. The timing's been better, and it's just a matter of continuing to stack up great days. And when we get into competition in training camp with other teams, it'll elevate a little bit more, and then the regular season happens and a whole new speed.
I know you guys didn't necessarily view it this way, but one of the outside criticisms last year was the number of people that were in that quarterback room. That's obviously been significantly downsized this year, where it's just Rob and Mike. So how beneficial will that be for Zach now to just kind of have a more traditional room in there where it's offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach?
It's always good. I feel like we did a really nice job in terms of what the roles were for everybody, in terms of the amount of communication that was made to the quarterback. Especially in the second half of the year when Zach came back from injury, it was always Calabrese was the lead voice. Obviously, we had John in the building, who did a fantastic job in terms of just eliminating noise for Zach from an external standpoint. And Kavanaugh, who did a wonderful job, was really there to assist with Mike as a first-time coordinator, and he did awesome. But as the room sits now, it's less congested. It's probably a lot less hot with all the body heat. But I really like the way the communication's been because it's been more direct. Where I think it is helpful is outside the quarterback room, where the ideas that are being shoved into a meeting are not necessarily minimized, but they're more direct, more refined, more concrete. So when we do get into the quarterback room, there's a lot more conviction in what's being coached.
Calabrese isn't a guy that's too well known yet. What do you see in him, and what do you think his potential is?
He's definitely got coordinator potential. Keyword in your question was yet. I think I don't want to put his business on blast, but he was courted this offseason in terms of job opportunities and coordinator opportunities. So he elected to stay. So very talented young man, very knowledgeable, played the position, and he's young. He's a sponge, and he's getting better every single day as a football coach.
Robert, what did you learn about Mike LaFleur that you didn't know maybe, and how would you describe his relationship with Zach?
The biggest thing is his ability to handle pressure and stress. Coming up, Mike, obviously, he's younger brother of Matt, who's fantastic as a head coach and was always working with Kyle. So to be out on your own and your first taste of stress is the New York media. Especially early in the season when things weren't going great for him, it was for him to walk in, head up, conviction and strength that he projected was pretty awesome, and I think it fed through because the offense did nothing but get better as the year went on. So he's another one that's only getting better. Second time around as coordinator, second year, it's only going to get better. So it's excited to see him grow.
When things were going wrong last year, obviously Zach was still learning and he had some injuries and things. Did you sense that he was holding back at all? Because I would imagine a lot of coordinators would say, let's scale things back. But his offense, he never seemed to really hold back on trick plays and being aggressive.
No, he was. He executed his vision, and the staff's vision for that matter. And I felt like every single week the offense continued to grow and expand, but not in a way where the players couldn't handle it. It was creative, and expectation obviously is that it continues, but which it has through phase 3 here. So they're growing. It's a fun group to watch work.
You mentioned the game slowing down for Zach. So how much does that fall on the staff to help him also slow the game down along with the work that he's putting in?
It's one and the same. Every coach can teach every single concept in the history of football. It's whether or not a player can execute it within 5 seconds, which is basically what you're being asked to do. And so there's balance of how much can you give the young man, not just him, but the O-linemen, the receivers, the tight ends, same thing on the defense side of the ball, so they can execute as fast as humanly possible. And so when you feel like they're being bogged down, you got to scale it back. And when you feel like it's too easy, you got to add more. And so you're always playing that balancing act.
Have you noticed Mike skipping around the building anymore with adding Brees, adding Wilson, adding the tight ends?
Peacock chest?
Yeah, a little
He's also been in the weight room too. If you guys want to compliment his, it's been a whole quarterback room thing. He looks good.
Just out the Chipotle around the corner?
No, he's been weightlifting on this diet and stuff and trying to keep up with the good looks of his brother.
Robert, with DJ Reed, obviously you had him early on in his career in San Francisco. What did you see when you studied the film with him last year in Seattle? Like, what kind of growth did you see? And I know it's been a long time since you were in Seattle. Is it still an easy transition from that defense to your defense?
Yeah, the corner play is universal in terms of what they're being asked to do. You see the same things. DJ is one of the hardest playing. We got this thing in the building, king of strain. Are you straining every day? Are you straining in the way you work on the football field? And I mean, the guy, you could almost hear him grunting on tape, and the volume's on mute. With how hard he plays and how hard he's getting in and out of his breaks and how important every single rep is to him. You see him in meetings, just the laser focus. There's no dozing off. There's no slouching. He is completely locked in. So you see all of that, and at the same time, he's not a robot. He's an unbelievable person and willing to talk to guys and bring guys along. So he's been awesome, and really excited that we have him.
How is Denzel doing in terms of grasping the offense?
Denzel's doing better. He's second time around. He's in fantastic shape. Looks really good. He's working on the things that we've asked him to work on with regards to the catch point and all that stuff, contested balls, but and obviously grasping the offense. So obviously we all, the whole organization has work to do in terms of reaching the point where we're not thinking about what we're being asked to do, but he's a lot further along today than he was a year ago.
When you say let me just quick follow. When you say he's in excellent shape, was that ever an issue with him?
Well, he never got a chance with all the sicknesses that he had to really like when I say shape, like because of the things that happened to him last offseason, he was never able to maintain the lower half power that is so underrated for a receiver play to get in and out of breaks and be explosive. And so you see all the explosiveness now because he's in fantastic shape and ready to roll. So.
You had 3 offensive linemen with surgery. Are you expecting them back for camp? Connor, George?
Yeah,
Kyle,
yeah,
they'll all be there for camp?
should be.
With the decision at the tackles with Mackay and George Fan, what's going to go into who plays on what side, and when do you expect to make that decision?
As soon as we can get Mackay here, I think hopefully for minicamp. I know he's dealing with the birth of the baby. Again, far more important. But once we get them all in here and we're able to work through it all, we'll be able to work through that part of it.
So you don't expect them here until minicamp?
We're in communication with them. It's no hurry. I mean, it's not like we're doing 11-on-11 stuff anyway. So.
Is he working on some right side footwork and hand placement and things like that down in Texas?
Yeah, they're working on everything. I know that he's just working on overall strength and getting the knee back and all that stuff. And from everything I've been gathering, he looks really good.
With the lack of contact, what are you trying to see out of Jermaine through these next couple of weeks? And how has he been with kind of picking the brains of Vinnie Curry and Solomon Thomas and some of those older guys?
He's been good. The biggest thing for all these guys is really just the structure. Unfortunately, for O-line, D-line is at a disadvantage because you don't get as much one-on-one work. So you're really working on your fundamentals, your footwork, your hand placement, grasping defense. You're watching offensive line play, and you're just trying to add thought to your game. So when you get the pads during training camp, you can give it all a try. But for him, really just getting his feet wet, understanding the meeting rooms, the practice, the area, and getting himself mentally prepared to play football in August.
You mentioned the 11-on-11 stuff. Obviously, there was none of that at OTAs last week. Will you start to implement that over these next 2? And then also aside from that, is one of the reasons you guys aren't doing that is partially because a number of your linemen are kind of banged up right now.
It's a little bit of both. Again, we're trying to take care of the big boys in terms of their bodies and all the residual contact that happens. Because I don't care how slow you try to make it, when you put them in front of each other, they just can't help but compete. We'll have an 11-on-11 pass period. We're not doing any run game because that's where it gets really violent. So we're doing some 11-on-11 stuff that's situational in terms of 3rd down, 2-minute, just so we can get that procedure all checked in. But for the most part, we're walking through all the run game stuff and playing 7-on-7.
Anything else? Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks, guys.